today we're going to be talking about how to get a rodeo sponsor. I've had quite a few people just like DM me and comment on my videos and ask me how I got sponsors and just tips. So, and I feel like it's not really, like nobody really talks about getting sponsors. And I feel like it's really like hush hush if you're getting like a paid sponsor. But anyways, I was scrolling through Facebook yesterday and there's like a barrel racing group, which is really helpful. But there was this girl who was asking about rodeo sponsors, and everyone was like, oh, you're not gonna like get a paid sponsor unless you're like at the Thomas and Mack. Like, what? And that's like the like NFR. So like she's pretty much saying if you're not like pro or going to the NFR, then you're not gonna get a paying sponsor, which I feel like it's not true, and it's really discouraging to like younger people. So, and I think a lot of people don't realize you don't have to be professional or even like in the top of like your state or whatever in barrel racing. There's a lot of other factors that will help you get a rodeo sponsor. So my very first tip would definitely to be make letters for anyone that you want to sponsor you. When I was younger, I used to just hand them out. Now sometimes I'll reach out to other brands that don't live in my town, so they're not local. So then you'll have to email them, but well, you can also mail them, but it's up to you. So yeah, you definitely need to write out a letter, and usually in that letter I just like introduce myself. If you're in high school, great, or like in school, I feel like it's kind of easier to get sponsors because you know you're in school, you're not an adult, you probably don't have a full-time job, so you know, yeah. So yeah, just tell them about yourself, tell them when you started riding, and just talk about why you like rodeo, what event you're in. Doesn't have to be barrel racing, obviously, or maybe you're in more than one event. And yeah, they mostly just want to know about you, and if you're going to college or something, tell them what you're going to college for. If you volunteer locally, that's a really good thing to put on there as well. And then the next part, you will want to ask them for whatever you're asking for. So you might not even be asking for money, you might be asking for a product, but it's best to just say it in the letter, because otherwise they're going to either think that it's like just not achievable, whatever you're asking for, or they're just going to see it and they're going to be like, okay, cool, yeah, we can do that. And it's just good to get right to the point, like might as well, right? I used to just ask for sponsorship and that was it. And then they'd be like, well, what do you want as a sponsorship? And then I'd even like, usually I didn't even know. I was like, well, and now I just say, look, this is what I want. And then the next part is what you can do for them. So for some businesses, honestly, you won't be able to do much. Like, let's be honest, there's some like local businesses that will mostly do it out of just the kindness of their heart and just because they are nice people. But you definitely want to offer, if there's anything you have to offer, you want to state it in the letter. You don't want it to be like a donation. You know, you want to support them and get other people to support them, whether it's a small business or an online business, whichever. There has to be some kind of way that you can give back, right? So you can say that in your letter. So for me, I've got social media, like my social media followings are pretty high, so that's usually what I put in there, that I can advertise on my social media. And if you don't have high following on social media, that's fine, you don't need it, but you can say you'll put patches on your shirts. Some events will actually announce the names, or put it in the program of like the personal sponsors. So if that's like an option for you, you definitely want to put that in the letter and make sure it happens. Like, don't say that and then never do it. And don't say you're going to get patches and then never get patches. It's just makes you look bad and it's not fair if they're sponsoring you, right? So yeah, usually I say I will get patches done and put them on my shirts, and then I will promote through word of mouth, of course. At some events, the sponsors can be announced. You usually have to ask them to, but it can be done. And then I just say, I'll promote you on social media. And yeah, so if you have social media, you want to have a good online presence. You shouldn't be bullying people or anything, or even leaving rude comments on people's posts. I mean, you shouldn't be doing that in general, but you don't want businesses to see that and be like, oh, I don't want this person like a part of my brand, right? Because you're pretty much like their ambassador, and you definitely don't want to make them look bad, and it'll make you look bad anyways. You don't want to be posting like drinking and partying every weekend. It's just like not professional. Stay classy. Just you also want to be on your social media. It's also really good to just be posting once in a while when you do go to an event, and then just posting how you did, or posting a video or something, just so that if the brand does look at your social media, they can see that and see that you're active on social media. And then once, if they do sponsor you, you can add to each of your posts, thank you for the sponsorship, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, that's the first thing. You definitely want to create a letter for them. And if you're going around locally, you want to give it to them in person, go shake their hand, meet them. And then if it's online, then you'll just have to email it usually, but that works too. And then second, yeah, you definitely want to have a good online presence. And then you also just want to have a good presence in the rodeo world, or in the barrel racing world, or even at gymkhanas. Like, don't be a snob, and make sure you're taking care of your horse and you're not getting mad when you have a bad run. Just basic things that you should be doing already. So sometimes a sponsor might just see you at a race and be like, hey, that girl is, or guy is supporting everyone and cheering everyone on, and that could help you get your first sponsor. So you definitely want to make sure you're a good sport and taking care of your horse as well. Yeah, you don't want to be one of those people who are getting mad after a bad run, after you knock a barrel or something. It's tacky. It's not cool. And then once you do get the sponsorship, you have to make sure that you're supporting them and keeping your word and making the patches or whatever you said that you would do. So a good thing to do is, if you're posting on social media, always tag them for your barrel racing posts, and say thank you on social media. Another thing is just going to their business. So for example, I got sponsored by Booster Juice a couple years ago, and I always try to go there like before an event or after an event, buy something, hopefully bring someone else with me, and then they just see that you're still supporting them, you're bringing in business, which is great. And then they always want to know how you're doing too, right? So you're coming in and you'll be like, yeah, I'm going to this event, or I just went to this event, it went great. And yeah, so that's also a really good thing to do, is just to keep in touch, and you never know, they might sponsor you again the next year. So you definitely want to make a good impression, whether they sponsor you again or not. It's just good to give back and make sure that you show that you're really grateful for the sponsorship. So some sponsorships, people will just get maybe even just a discount code, which is totally fine. Just make sure when you're making your letter that, say if you are wanting money, you just ask for it in the letter. So usually what I do is I say, entry fees usually cost blah, 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 $100, whatever. Just let them know like approximately how much it costs, and then add in, you have to pay for food, gas, everything like that, tack, and then they will be able, sometimes gas cards are an option for sponsorships, which are great too. So maybe, and that's maybe what you'll ask for, a gas card. So if you are asking for money, I usually don't ask for a set amount. So say I'm asking for $5, or that's what I'm expecting. I would just say, oh, I'm looking for $5 to $10. Like obviously that's just an example, but you want to give them some room to decide what is fair on their part. And then usually what I also offer is invoices, and you can make invoices on your own really easily. That's just for their own banking. And you can also ask for receipts from wherever you're entered in. So they usually will just have to write one up, or you can even get like a template for them to write on. Or if you're doing it through e-transfer, there's like e-transfer invoices that you can get and then give to the brand who is paying for your entry fees. So usually what I do is in my letter I say I can provide invoices if needed, right? Or receipts if needed. And they usually don't need them, but it just depends on the brand. Another thing that you can ask for instead of just asking for a set amount of money is saying like, for this year I am asking for 3 entry fees. So then you can say entry fees are usually $60 to $100. Like give them approximately how much they cost, right? And then say that you'll send some kind of proof where the money is going to. So like an invoice, something like that. And then you can get like the race producer to sign off on it. And that's just good for the brand to see that you're showing them what you're spending it on and you're not just spending it on whatever you want, right? Another thing that will help you with sponsorships is if you already support the brand, so, or the business. So say it's a clothing store, you don't want to just be cold calling them and say like, hey, I love your store, right? You want to have some kind of connection with the owner, go there, buy some things or try them out. And then you can say in your letter, I love blah, 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 whatever product they have, so that they know that you already like their products or their business, you've used their things, and it's not just you asking whoever, right? So, and that also helps if you're promoting their products, because you don't want to be promoting something that you wouldn't use yourself. Another good thing to add in your letter is what you've already achieved in your sport. So saying like, I made it to finals last year, I won this rodeo, that rodeo, whatever. It's good to put that in your letter. So what I do is I have my letter and then I put on the side achievements, and then I kind of list like 5 achievements so that they can just see that you're active in the rodeo community, and it's just cool for them to see what you have achieved. And it doesn't matter, they can be big or small things. Yeah. And lastly, a good thing to add in your letter is your goals. So then they know that you're serious about it, you're going for a goal, you're passionate about it. So that could be, I'm looking to make it to whatever finals this year, or I'm training a younger horse, I want to get them in the 1D, 2D, 3D, whatever. It's good to put your goals in there so that they just know that you're serious about it. I think a misconception about rodeo sponsors is that you have to be doing really good, you have to be pro, you got to be in the 1D. And I've gotten a lot of sponsors where I'm seasoning horses, like this year. You know, you're not going to be in the top whatever, and that's okay as long as you are continuously supporting their brand and you're a good face for their brand and you're active in the rodeo community. It usually doesn't even matter where you're placing. Like, great if you're in the top 5 in your state or province, that's awesome, but it's not a necessity. And yeah, take it from someone who's gotten sponsors when they're pretty low down on the totem pole. So yeah, those are my tips. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. If you want to see samples of the letters that I've made, or templates, usually I use a template and put like the letter and then the achievements, and then also like a little picture, or you can put a picture in the background and then put writing on top of it. You want it to look nice, look kind of fancy, professional for sure. And yeah. Almost forgot, if you do get a sponsor, make sure you, at the end of the year, you can give them a card, flowers, whatever, and list out like your highlights of the year, what your favorite parts were, if you achieved your goals, anything like that. You can send them some pictures. Sometimes businesses like to put them up in a frame, like in their like store or whatever, or they want to put it on their website or on their social media. And yeah, it's just really great to connect with them and make sure that you haven't just like forgotten about them as you're ending your season. and then it will also help you to have a chance of having them sponsor you again for the next year. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know if you have any questions at all. I'm always open to talk on social media, so yeah. Thanks for watching.